للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد ولد آدم أجمعين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين على مر الأيام والليالي والشهور والسنين أما بعد. We continue for 10 p.m. Sunday, February the 17th, 2019 of the Hijrah, which agrees on the Hijri calendar, which is Jumad al-Thani, the month of Jumad al-Thani, or the 11th, of Jumad al-Thani, the year 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. We were discussing this hadith, which we continue in this treatise by the great illustrious Imam Ahmad ibn Ali ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah, who died 852 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam, in that tremendous treatise which is known amongst Ahl al-Ilm, which is called Buloogh Al-Maraam, obtaining the objective. And we continue in the chapter of Kitab al-Nikah, from those sub-chapters or subtopics that was given, which is called Husnu al-Ishra, good dealings in as far as in treatment of the spouses. We stopped at the hadith, continuing this affair of explaining good treatings and good dealings in one's marriage, of the hadith in regards to what's considered the haqq, the right of the man over the woman. Where it says, as we're explaining about hadith Abu Hurairah, where it says, إذا دعا الرجل امرأته إلى فراشه فأبت أن تجيء فبات غضبان لعنتها الملائكة حتى تصبح. We were just talking about the narration. We continue. It says that if a man that he calls his wife to sleep with him, or to be intimate, or to intimacy. Notice the message of Allah said firash. Firash meaning to the bed or the places where one sleeps. And she refuses to come, and the husband remains in the night angry and upset, that the angels curse her until the morning time, which the hadith is agreed upon. And the love and the wording is for Al-Bukhari. And for Muslim is another narration where it says, كان الذي في السماء ساخطا عليها حتى يرضى عنها زوجها. He said that the one in the heavens, that he will remain, of course he, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, will be angry with her, or her anger will be upon her or against her, until her husband is pleased with her. Until her husband is pleased with her. As we were discussing the narration, or the benefits that's extracted from this narration, there are many. We were talking about the different functions of the angels. And we were given certain characteristics. But number one, as we discussed from the benefits that's extracted from this narration, is the belief of the existence of angels. That they do exist. And they have different functions. They have different duties. And also some of their characteristics as far as what they have or possess, of what they have in regards to their outward appearance, of how they look as far as with wings, and as far as them having comprehension and having the ability to speak, and even having the ability to change shape and form. As we were discussing this from last class, we talked about how they have also comprehension, and that also the angels have hearts. And this has been affirmed in the Book of Allah. So if someone out there says, AbdurRazzaaq said the angels have hearts, no, your argument is with Allah, not with me. Allah Ta'ala says that in His book. وَإِذَا فُزِّعَ حَتَّى إِذَا فُزِّعَ عَنْ قُلُوبِهِمْ قَالُوا مَاذَا قَالَ رَبُّكُمْ قَالُوا الْحَقِّ وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْكَبِيرُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, until the fear is removed from their hearts. In the context of the ayah, was talking about the angels. What did your Lord say? He said, meaning Jibreel, the truth. And he is Al-Ali and he's Kabir. So it's also from the characteristics of the angels that they do have qulub, that they have hearts. And also likewise, the angels supplicate for those who believe. And they also supplicate against certain people that commit certain acts. And from them is what you see in the hadith. So the angels have the ability to supplicate. They even ask forgiveness for Allah, for those who believe, the people of Tawheed, the people of Sunnah. So we continue this discussion about the angels, that the angels have all these different functions. But number one, like we said, as we discussed it from last class, that from the 6 articles of faith that is obligatory upon everyone to believe without any reluctancy or hesitation in regards to this matter is the belief or the affirmation for the existence of the angels. And that is from the articles of faith. That is from the aqa'id, or the belief of Ahlul Sunnah. That the existence of an unseen presence, and from them are the angels, that they do exist. And they're considered from the mughayyabat. They are considered from those affairs that are kept concealed and hidden from us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested those who truly believe in His revelation by this unseen presence. And from them is the angels. As we know, that is the first ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes, or that is in the first surah, the surah after Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Baqarah, that the belief in this type of unseen is from the matters in which Allah said that that's from the characteristics of those who truly believe. As Allah clearly says in His book, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Allah Ta'ala says in His book, Alif Lam Mim, that is the book, there's no doubt in it. Guidance for the muttaqeen, those who believe in the unseen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested to see those who are going to deny it or those who are going to twist it. Because there are people out there that do twist, that Allah mentions the unseen, but it means something else. You'll find that there are people out there that always try to logically and intellectually explain certain things. Like that the meaning of shayateen are not actual shayateen, they mean, for example, bacteria. There are Muslims out there that say this, who have been affected by the ideologies of the Mu'tazila that still exist to this day, currently in Egypt. There are people that twist, that alter the meaning of the unseen, and they try to logically explain for things occurring. But everything has a logical explanation to it. But we said, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, they are those who have deviated from the ways of the prophets and the messengers, like we said in Surah Al-Fatiha. Because all of the prophets and the messengers unanimously agreed in the belief of the angels. So that is the correct path that we ask Allah to keep us firm upon. It's the correct path that we make dua 15 times a day, if not more, depending on how much voluntary worship we do. The straight path is those who Allah bestowed His blessing upon, and at the head of them, and the forefront of them, are the prophets and the messengers. And all the prophets and the messengers unanimously, without any shadow of a doubt, without any difference of opinion, every single last one of the prophets and the messengers and the righteous all believed in the existence of the angels. All of them. Can you name any prophet or messenger that didn't believe in the existence of the angels? Give me one. Exactly. Can't bring one. So this is the haqq in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? Is laid down as a foundation from the 6 articles of faith that's incumbent upon every human being to have the absolute complete conviction of, without any doubt or hesitancy or hesitance in embracing its belief. So the angels, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, like we talked about, al-akhawat, to those who are listening online, we said that the angels have different duties. And we gave some of its descriptions, and I'm not going to continue in this matter or elaborating in this matter because we have other things I wanted to cover. But just to finish off this particular topic about the angels and their existence and their duties and the different abilities that they have, as we know that the angels, like we said, when we believe that they have different duties of sending down the rain, and some of them have been entrusted for the revelation, such as Jibreel, or one of them has been entrusted for the revelation, who's Jibreel. and also other malaika that have the duties of writing down the actions of the ibad, of the servants, and from them who also glorify Allah, and some of them who actually are considered inhabitants of the heavens. They are inhabitants of the heavens that worship Him consistently, without stopping. And we talked about how the angels also make dua for the people of Tawheed, the people of Sunnah, the people of Hadith, the people of Minhaj al-Salafi. The angels make dua for them. They supplicate for Allah's forgiveness for them. A person would say, what is the dalil for that? The dalil, I think it's in Surah Zumar. It's either in Surah Zumar, but it's in the Book of Allah. It's either in Surah Zumar, it's either Surah Zumar in the first pages, first and second page. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, وَالَّذِينَ يَحْمِلُونَ الْعَرْشَ وَمَنْ حَوْلَهُ يُسَبِّحُونَ بِحَمْدِهِ يسبحون بحمد ربهم الحمد لله ويؤمنون به ويستغفرون للذين آمنوا ربنا وسعت كل شيء رحمة وعلما فاغفر للذين تابوا واتبعوا سبيلك وقيهم عذاب الجحيم ربنا وأدخلهم جنات عدن التي وعدتهم ومن صلح من آبائهم وأزواجهم وذرياتهم إنك أنت السميع العليم وقهم السيئات ومن تقي السيئات يومئذ فقد رحمت وذلك هو الفوز العظيم. That's the long dua that Allah says that the angels say. That the angels say. He says, وَالَّذِينَ يَحْمِلُونَ الْعَرْشَ وَمَنْ حَوْلَهُ يُسَبِّحُونَ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّهِمْ وَيُؤْمِنُونَ بِهِ. He said, for those who carry the arsh and those that are around the arsh, he's talking about the angels, they glorify His praise and they believe in Allah. So the angels believe in Allah and His existence. Now listen to this part. وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. They seek forgiveness for those who believe. And there's another ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. They seek forgiveness for those in the earth. However, the angels seek forgiveness for those of Tawheed, the people of monotheism, the people of Sunnah, people of Hadith, people of Minhaj al-Salafi. He seeks their forgiveness for Allah. He seeks their forgiveness for them. Allah says, يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Now listen what it says. This is now Allah even gives us details of the exact words the angels say. رَبَّنَا وَسِعْتَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ رَحْمَةً وَعِلْمًا فَاغْفِرْ لِلَّذِينَ تَابُوا وَاتَّبِعُوا سَبِيلَكَ وَقِيهِمْ عَذَابَ الْجَحِيمِ. It says that from the angels and their functions, they say, O our Lord, you have encompassed everything in knowledge. And your knowledge and your mercy. Forgive those who believe. فَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِلَّذِينَ وَسِعْتَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ رَحْمَةً وَعِلْمًا فَاغْفِرْ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Seek forgiveness for those who believe. And they follow your one path. Notice it says, Sabilak, one path. The path of Islam, the path of following the message of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. The path of the Minhaj al-Salaf. He says, save them. He says, forgive them. And also, those that make tawbah to you constantly, and they follow your one path, and save them from the hellfire. So you find that the angels from their dua is this dua. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like we said, He gives details of how the angels even make dua and what they say in words to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Notice that the angels also go on to say, وسعت كل شيء رحمة وعلم فاغفر للذين تابوا واتبعوا سبيلك وقيهم عذاب الجحيم ربنا وأدخلهم جنات عدن التي وعدتهم ومن صلح من آبائهم وأزواجهم وذرياتهم إنك أنت السميع البصير. I think it is. وقيهم السيئات. Long dua. The point of reference of what we mentioned, or point of evidence, is to show that the angels supplicate to Allah. And they seek forgiveness for those of the people of Sunnah, the people of Tawheed, the people of monotheism, the people of uprightness, and those who make tawbah, and those who follow Allah ta'ala, one path of the truth. Allah seeks forgiveness for the angels seek Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness for them. Also, we know from the functions of the angels, they are sayyahun. يبحثون عن مجالس الذكر. that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also appointed angels, سَيَّاحُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ يَبْحَثُونَ عَنْ مَجَالِسِ الذِّكْرِ. There are also angels that go about in the earth that they look for the circles or the gatherings of remembrance. They go about in the earth looking for the circles and the gatherings of remembrance. You'll find, ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, that from the circles of remembrance is these type of circles, inshallah. The circles that involve enlightenment and education of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's religion is from the greatest sittings of dhikr, of remembrance of Him. So not only just the Quran, of course, but also taking the proper knowledge, and the knowledge of Kitab and Sunnah is also considered the majalis al-dhikr, in which we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the angels and made them to be in these type of gatherings, where those gatherings are blessed, where the angels, likewise, like we said in authentic hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned he said about the majalis al-dhikr, يَتَدَارَسُونَ الْقُرْآنِ, he says, إِلَّا حَفَّتَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ إلا نزلت عليهم السكينة وحفت نزلت عليهم السكينة وغشيتهم الرحمة وحفتهم الملائكة وذكرهم الله في من عنده. As we know the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said that those type of sittings, especially those who remember the Quran and also likewise that they educate themselves in the proper knowledge of Kitab and Sunnah, he said that the angels descend upon them, those gatherings. That the sakina, the tranquility, that it descends. And also the angels also likewise gather them up in their wings. وَحَفَّتْهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, and that they also mention them. In which Allah Ta'ala also mentions what they're doing. In another hadith, which is the Bukhari, talking about what? Praising those who are now, not only in these circles, but those who even come and sit in these type of circles. So those are all the different functions of the malaika, and there are more. But these are just some of the details that we wanted to mention. But however, in regards to what the angels and their belief and their abilities and their outward appearance, walillahi alhamd, we have what? Adillah from Kitab and Sunnah that gives us what we need to know about the angels and their functions and their beliefs also. As we know that the angels believe in the existence of Allah. Yes, they do. That the angels believe in the existence of Allah. And the angels are also people of Tawheed. The angels are people of monotheism. The angels are the ibad of Allah, and the angels are Ahl Tawheed. They're not people of paganism. The angels are people of monotheism. So the angels are people of ibadatullah and people of Tawheed, al-uluhiyah and rububiyyah, wal asma wa sifat. They believe in Allah, and you'll find that Allah Ta'ala mentions them saying that they believe in Him. They believe in His existence, and they believe He's above. Also, in regards to what we mentioned, that they have functions and that the angels can move, and that they also obey Allah. They can move, meaning that they go from place to place, of course. And all those narrations that they descend upon us during the day, and then they go above at the night, and they alternate. We also believe that the angels, some of them have different numbers of wings. As Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Fatir. Also likewise that the angels, that they were created from light. As we know Kitab and Sunnah, that Allah Ta'ala informs us of how they were created. They were created from light. We also know certain characteristics of when they came in the form of human beings and that they don't eat. We also know that the angels also have the ability to aid and also sending down some of them with the rain. And some of them will even have the duties of also punishing the creation. As we know, some of the angels also have the duties for punishing, as it comes in the gatekeeper of the hellfire, whose name was Malik, as Allah even named him in His book. There's a certain angel, his name is Malik, and he's the gatekeeper of hell. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me and you the tawfiq not to see that angel. But it's the gatekeeper of what? His name is Malik. He's the gatekeeper of hell. There's also an angel who's been given the duty to taking the souls at death. Taking the souls at death. There's also whom Allah has named, calling him Malakul Maut. His name is Malakul Maut, and that is the strongest opinion. Malakul Maut. And it's not Azrafil, as some of the weak narrations come. Some of them call them, his name was Azrafil, or Azra'il, excuse me. Azra'il. But that narration is weak. The narration that was what is confirmed and been established in Kitab al-Sunnah is that the angel's death, his name is Malakul Maut. Malakul Maut. Allah has mentioned that in Surah As-Sajdah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ ثُمَّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ تُرْجِعُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, he says that the angel, notice he says it clearly in the ayah, it says, قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ. Say the one who will take you at death is Malakul Maut that has been entrusted to you, meaning entrusted to taking your soul. Is there a problem over there, the sister side? I keep hearing voices. Something happened? قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ. Say that the angel of death, he will take you, meaning take your soul, who has been given the duty to take it, meaning take your soul out of your body. Then to your Lord you will be returning. So all these, like we said, is to show the functions of the angels and the different duties that they have and their belief and their outward appearance of how they look, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in detail. And there's more, but like we said, I think inshallah this will suffice us to be adequate for this maqam or this ujala, for this particular lesson that we're talking about, speaking or explaining right now. So notice that the narration that it says that if the man was to come upon the night and he remains angry and upset with her, meaning that which is not of an excuse that excuses the woman from not answering his call. The call of intimacy, especially with the husband, of course, for one refraining, meaning the woman or her spouse, or his spouse, excuse me, is her refraining, can it be in statement, and it can also be in action. So it's not just, for example, just refraining by the mere action. Also, if she says it in statement, like, no, I'm not coming, or I'm not, or I don't feel like it. I'm not doing all that. And we know this is not a befitting way to speak to our spouse. Well, I'm not, nobody doing all that. We know all the smart remarks that people say out of their mouths, which is not befitting. This is the reason why we have to learn mannerisms of knowing how to speak to one another. So you say that if a woman is now to say these type of actions and statements, or do these type of actions and statements, and not excuse herself with a legitimate legislated excuse from Kitab and Sunnah, then which will be the result is that the angels will curse her. And we said that the meaning of curse here is not the first meaning, which is of condemn, which is praise. Rather, the angels invoke Allah for the curse of Allah to be upon her. Or they curse her. They actually curse the woman. The curse meaning of expelling her from the rahmah of Allah until the morning time. And I'm sure that no woman wants to die in a state where that the angels are invoking against her. Now, no human being wants to die in a state where the angels are invoking against you. That's a dangerous state. May Allah preserve us and you from that. That no one wants to die, and the malaika muqarrabun, those who are close to Allah, are invoking against you. So take in consideration this, sisters, especially those who have a non-legitimate excuse, meaning they don't have an excuse from Kitab al-Sunnah. But we also had mentioned, we also mentioned in the previous lessons, that if a woman can be excused with legitimate, acceptable excuses, whether it be, for example, her time of the month, or if she's working a very tiring or very exhausting job that's causing her to be very weary, and she has a lot of responsibilities and duties, that could be a legitimate excuse to excuse herself. So it's not in what they call al-itlaq. It's not general for all circumstances. You'll find that Ahl Ilm saying that if she has an justifiable excuse, then that's acceptable. And that the husband should what? should excuse her and pardon her if she says, for example, sweetheart, I'm tired today, I'm exhausted, please excuse me. That I cannot do this today, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Just excuse me, please. Or I'm not feeling well. And you'll find in and we'll bring in other exceptions, where it says, for example, a person might be sick, or the person might be injured, or what have you. But if that is not the case, in this, just say for the person just intending evil, or they're just trying to be spiteful, or be petty, and there's no justifiable excuse, this is the result. This is the result where the angels will curse her until the morning time. So notice that it says, and also in the other narration, it says clearly that the one who is above the heavens will be angry with her, or his anger will be upon her, until her husband is pleased with her. This narration has tremendous benefits in it. And it brings to the topic I wanted to discuss today. The hadith, if you look in your books, everyone, which is a Sahih Muslim, it says that the one that is above the heavens. So number one, this is the affirmation of the ulu or fawqiyatullah, the aboveness or the highness or the loftiness, however we want to call it. The highness, the aboveness, the loftiness of Allah Ta'ala being above the creation. So it says clearly, the one who's above the heavens. The one who's above the heavens. So it affirms the ulu of Allah, number one. And also number two, another characteristic of Allah, which is sakhat. Sakhat. The anger or the displeasure of Allah. The anger or the displeasure of Allah. If you notice in the Arabic, it says, كَانَ الَّذِي فِي السَّمَاءِ. Fi. Everybody knows that the Arabic language, the word fi, the initial meaning of it means what? In. However, if everyone knows who studies the Arabic language that the prepositions in the Arabic language can as they say, يتعاقب or يتناوب or ينوب بعضها عن بعض. يتناوب, that they alternate, or they can what? You can use different prepositions and they can be utilized for another meaning. For example, the word fi in the Arabic language can also mean ala. The word in or fi in the Arabic language can mean ala, can mean above. Can mean above. The word fi in the Arabic language can mean ala, it can mean above. What's the proof of that? The proof of that is in the book of Allah. Where the word fi in the Arabic language, fi can mean ala, can mean above. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about what Fir'aun, what happened with Fir'aun when he threatened those. He threatened the magicians who believed in Musa after Allah had sent that sign, that eye upon the hands of Musa that destroyed their magic. Fir'aun said a statement. He says, لَأُصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ فِي جُذُوعِ النَّخْلِ. Listen to what Fir'aun said. He said, لَأُصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ فِي جُذُوعِ النَّخْلِ. لَأُصَلِّبَنَّكُمْ فِي جُذُوعِ النَّخْلِ. He said that I will most definitely crucify you. Now listen to what he said. فِي جُذُوعِ النَّخْلِ. فِي جُذُوعِ النَّخْلِ. I will most definitely crucify you. Fi in the date palms. As you'll find that Ibn al-Qayyim even mentioned this. He says here in this ayah, the word fi means above, meaning that he was going to take them and hang them above the date palms. Based upon what the people of deviance, the people of falsehood, their belief is that fi means to be in something, literally in it, and that the prepositions in the Arabic language do not alternate, which is absolute nonsense. Because everyone knows that when they hear the ayat that Fir'aun said, that they understood that he was going to take them and put them above the what? The date palm. Not inside of it where he opened up the actual what? The actual tree and stuffed them inside of it. No one is understanding that. That so when Fir'aun said fi, it was understood as ala, meaning above. So that's the point of why we're mentioning this. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what he said, that Fir'aun mentioned about when he was going to crucify them upon the date palm, that he said, La usallibannakum fi judu'in nakhl. Fi here means ala, meaning that I'm going to crucify you above, hang you above the date palm tree, and what? And crucify you. So the meaning of fi here is what? Above. So no one understands when they hear the ayat that Fir'aun was going to open up the date palm trees and stuff their bodies inside of it. Nobody's understanding that. Where did you get that from? Anybody with any common sense understands that the ayat means that he was going to take them and put them high above it and crucify them on it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying so far? So this is a clear evidence to show that the word fi can mean what? Ala, meaning above. Above. So if you look in the Arabic language in your books, if you look in Buloogh Al-Maraam, it says, Kana alladhi fis sama, the one who is literally translated upon the people Batil, they understand it as the one who's in the heavens. And this is the reason why they reject that Allah is above. It says here fi, meaning in the heavens. So you mean to tell me that fi, that Allah is in the heavens where the directions encompass him, he's confined, whereas the directions around him all confine him? And this is the reason why they deny the aboveness of Allah. And we say here that the word, first of all, the first rebuttal we say, is that fi here means ala. Fi here means ala. The preposition in means above. So if you want to read it, it says the one who's above the heavens. The one who's above the heavens. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? Everyone with me? Fine. But what about the word sama? Sama. The one who's above the sama. Sama in the Arabic language also means ulu. Kullu shay'in murtafi' fahuwa sama. Linguistically in the Arabic language, kullu shay'in murtafi' yusamma sama fi al-lugha. As we know, so we just moved from the meaning of the word fi. Fi in the Arabic language can mean ala, as we said. Now let's move on to the next thing. The word sama. The word sama in the Arabic language. It's known in the Arabic language, sama is a derivative of the word sumu. Sumu'un. Sumu. Sumu means high. High, above, aboveness, loftiness. The word sumu means all of that. And you'll find in the Arabic language, everything that's murtafi', everything that's been high and raised is called sama. Everything that's been raised high and that's above is called in the Arabic language sama. It's called sama. And it's a derivative of the word sumu. Sumu, which means high, above, loftiness, or something lofty and high. So everything that's high above you is called sama. Everything. Linguistically in the Arabic language. So it's not just utilized for the word heavens, as some people would think. That's one of the meanings. But anything that's high above you is called sama. It's called sama. You'll find in the book of Allah, Allah calls the clouds sama. And that the rain coming down from the clouds is called sama. Why? Because the clouds are high and above. High and above us. So a person can read it like this, sisters. You can say, for example, كَانَ الَّذِي عَلَى السَّمَاءِ. You can say it that way. You can understand it that way. That the one who's above the heavens. You can say it that way. Or you can say it, or you can say كان الذي في العلو. You can say both. كان الذي في العلو. So you got, either you can say كان الذي على السماء, the one who's above the heavens, or كان الذي في العلو. في العلو. Well, we know that the word sama means sumu. Right, everyone? We said sama is a derivative of the word sumu. And a synonym to that is the word ulu. Ulu, with an ayn. Ulu. They're synonymous. They mean the same thing. Sumu and ulu mean the same thing. Ulu also likewise means aboveness, highness, loftiness. That's why you say Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Ta'ala. Meaning the one who's high and above. So you have the word sumu and you have the word ulu. And they both mean the same thing. Like we said, they're synonyms. They're synonymous. So you can read the hadith as such. You can read it like this. You can say, كَانَ الَّذِي عَلَى السَّمَاءِ, the one who's above the sama. Or you can say, كَانَ الَّذِي فِي الْعُلُوِ, the one that's in the ulu. The one who's in that highness or that loftiness. Or for lack of better words, aboveness. That goes back to the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن فِي السَّمَاءِ أَن يَخْسِفَ بِكُمُ الْأَرْضِ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَمُورُ. 10 ayahs في Surah Al-Mulk. Allah ta'ala says in the book, أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن فِي السَّمَاءِ, do you feel secure of the one who's what? It says فِي السَّمَاءِ. As we said, it can mean أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن عَلَى السَّمَاءِ. As you'll find that some of Ahl Ilm mentioned, that the meaning of the ayah is, do you feel secure of the one who's above the heavens? Who's above the heavens? And we just gave the proof and evidence that fi can mean ala. That the word or the preposition fi can mean ala. We gave the dalil which comes in the ayah talking about what happened with Fir'aun and the magicians. Also, you can say that the meaning of the ayah, أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن فِي الْعُلُوِ. أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن فِي الْعُلُوِ. Do you feel secure of the one who's in al-ulu? Fil ulu. Meaning, in his highness, in his aboveness, in his loftiness. You can say either which one. Both of them are correct. As we know, the characteristics of Allah Ta'ala breaks down into two categories, right, everyone? As far as his characteristics. As we know that the characteristics of Allah breaks down into what? Two characteristics, which is sifatun or sifatun dhatiyah or sifatun fi'liyah. The characteristics of Allah's essence, that's the first category. And the second one is the characteristics of his what? His actions. Both examples, or both categories, the examples of that is mentioned here in this hadith in front of you, right here. So it's two examples of a characteristic of his essence, and it's a characteristic of his actions. Are both mentioned in this one context, in this hadith here, Sahih Muslim. As you'll find that the great Imam Al-Hafiz Al-Hakami rahimahullah, that he said in his poetry, the great Imam Al-Hafiz rahimahullah, rahmatu wasi'ah, who's the Shaykh of the Mashayikh, as I used to call him. The Shaykh of the Mashayikh. Who's the Shaykh of the great Imam Shaykh Ahmed Najmi, the great Imam Al-Shaykh Ali Nasr Al-Faqihi, and the great Imam Shaykh Zayd ibn Hadi Al-Madkhali, and even the great Imam, رغم أنوف الحزبيين وأعداء السنة, Sheikh Rabi' ibn Umair ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, which is a mihna for Ahl al-Sunnah in these days, if you only but knew. The Al-Hafiz al-Hakimi was the Sheikh of them, of those great A'imma, the great Imam Al-Hafiz al-Hakimi. And he was also a very, very strange and amazing man who's given one of the most, in these days at times, especially in these days, the most astonishing memories, in which he did so much for the religion, he died in his 30s, rahimahullah. At any rate, he put in his poetry, he says, the great Imam Al-Hafiz al-Hakimi, he said, وكل ما جاء في الوحيين من صفة لله نثبتها والنص نعتمد صفات ذات وأفعال نمر ولا نقول كيف ولا ننفي كمن جحدوا ولكن على ما يليق بمولانا كما أراده وعناه الله نعتقد وفي الشهادة علم القلب مشترط يقينه قد قبول ليس يفتقد إخلاصك الصدق فيها مع محبتها كذا الولاء والبراء فيها لها عمد فيه توالي أولي التقوى وتنصرهم وكل أعدائه إن لهم لعدو. Allahu Akbar. Rahimahullah. That he said in his poetry, he said, وكل ما جاء في الوحيين من صفة لله نثبتها والنص نعتمد صفات ذات وأفعال نمر ولا نقول كيف ولا ننفي كمن جحدوا. That he said, rahimahullah. That he said, everything that comes in the two revelations. Notice he called the Kitab and Sunnah both revelation. So not only just the book of Allah is revelation, the Kitab, the Sunnah is also revelation. He said, وَكُلُّ مَا جَاءَ فِي الْوَحْيَيْنِ مِنْ صِفَةٍ. Everything that comes in the Kitab and Sunnah of a characteristic. He says, we affirm it, and upon the text we rely upon. And its affirmation. Sifatu that wa af'al. The characteristic of Allah's essence and the characteristic of Allah's what? Actions. See, notice he says, Sifatu that wa af'al numirru wala naqulu kayf wala nanfi kama jahadu. He says, we affirm the characteristics of Allah's essence and the characteristics of Allah's what? Actions. We narrate it as it came, and we affirm it as it came. And we don't say how it is, nor do we negate it like those who negate it. As we know, the characteristics of Allah, based upon the fact that we just mentioned and said that they break down to both categories. The category number one of sifat dhatiyya or sifatu that. The characteristics of Allah's essence, of His essence. As we know, the characteristics of Allah Ta'ala's essence are those characteristics that never, ever leave Him, Ta'ala. Meaning He's always had these characteristics. There was no beginning to them, and there will never be an ending to them, ever. Allah is always having these characteristics, which is of His essence. And try to avoid the word part. Don't say part, but rather say it's from His essence. Because part is one of those words, if it's used with Allah, it can give you an insinuation of truth and falsehood at the same time. So if we can, try to avoid the word part in regards to Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So number one, you have the characteristic of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's essence. That He has characteristics that did not have a beginning, nor have an ending, and that Allah will always continue to have that characteristic. From those characteristics that are part of His essence is the characteristic of ulu. The characteristic of aboveness and highness and loftiness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the word ulu, or Allah being Ali, or Allah being a'la, or Allah being muta'ala or muta'alin. Allah is always above His creation. That is a characteristic of Allah's essence. It never, ever goes away. There's no beginning to it. There's no ending to it. Allah is always above, and He will always be above. Because aboveness shows dominance. It shows glory. It shows magnification. It shows dominance. It shows power. It shows that He's mighty. He's majestic. He's glorified. He's magnified. Being above shows completeness, complete domination, and power. So that's the reason why Allah Ta'ala has that completeness. The completeness of what? The ulu, or Him being Ali. That Allah being above. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even when He Ta'ala descends to the lower heaven, He's still above the creation. He's still above. Even when Allah comes on the day of resurrection, He will still be above. And when Allah commences the day of resurrection for the judgment of the people, He still will be above. Allah is always above the creation. Allah is always above. Like we talked about and said, aboveness shows completeness, shows dominance, shows power, might, magnification, glory, sublimity. So when Allah comes on the day of resurrection, He will be above. As it comes in authentic hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ clearly said that on the day of resurrection, I will prostrate under the throne. He said, I will prostrate under the throne to let one know that Allah Ta'ala will still be above the creation at the time when He's commenced the day of resurrection. He still will be above. So the word aboveness is a characteristic of His essence. And it never leaves Him Ta'ala. That's why Allah described Himself in His book of being Ali, and being A'la, and Muta'alin. As it says in the poetry. As Al-Hafiz also says in his poetry, the great Imam, Al-Hafiz Al-Hakimi, rahimahullah. He said about Allah, he says, وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ هُوَ الْأَعْلَى هُوَ الْمُتَعَى لِي كُلُّ مَعْنَى عُلُوِّ اللَّهِ نَعْتَقِدُ قَدْرًا وَقَهْرًا وَذَاتَ جَلَّ خَالِقُنَا ما حل فينا ولا بالخلق متحد وفي 7 آية صرح باستوى على العرش ربي فهو منفرد رحمه الله رحمه الله. That he said about the ulu of Allah, he said that Allah is هو العلي هو الأعلى هو المتعال لكل معنى علو الله نعتقد. May Allah guide the individual who taught us this. SubhanAllah, may Allah guide him. Return him back to the truth. But at any rate, we're not talking about Hafiz al-Hakimi, we're talking about Muhammad bin Hadi. But at any rate, so we say in regards to this, that ulu of Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, we affirm all its derivatives. You'll find in the book of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that He's Ali, and that He's A'la, and that He's Muta'alin. All of the meanings of the aboveness of Allah we affirm. We say that Allah is Ali, we say Allah is A'la, and we also say Allah is Muta'alin. They are all derivatives of the word ulu. Ulu, with a ayn. Ulu. Allah is Ali, He is A'la, and He's Muta'alin. And all of the derivatives of the ulu we affirm for Allah. We also know that Allah Ta'ala, the ulu, or the aboveness of Allah, breaks down to 3 categories. The the three categories. The first category is the first category of ulu, of the aboveness or highness or loftiness of Allah, is ulu al-dhat. The ulu al-dhat. The ulu al-dhat. That Allah is high in His essence, meaning He Himself is above the heavens. Excuse me. He Himself, meaning His essence, is above the heavens. So that's the first category of ulu, of aboveness and highness, is ulu al-dhat. Ulu al-dhat. The aboveness of Allah's essence, meaning He Himself is above the heavens. And Allah is not everywhere and in everything. Then you have the second category of ulu, which is called ulu al-qadr. 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 Qa, like the qadr of Allah. Qa, dal, ra. Ulu al-qadr. Or you'll find that some of Ahl al-Ilm call it ulu al-makanah. Not makan, makanah. Makanatun. Makanatun. The aboveness of Allah's qadr or makana, meaning the highness or aboveness of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, His makana, meaning His status. What is the meaning of status? Meaning what the slaves and the servants feel of that glorification in themselves towards Allah. That's what it means. Meaning what the servants and the worshippers feel in themselves of the glorification and the magnification of Allah, what they have towards their Lord tabarak wa ta'ala. Is it clear so far what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? Meaning what the ibad, or what the slaves, or the ibad, or the worshippers have within themselves, that feeling of glorification and magnification of Allah, that is called ulu al-qadr, or ulu al-makanah. Ulu al-qadr, or ulu al-makanah. That high status of what the servants have within themselves, of glorification and magnification of their Lord. That's the second category of ulu. Of ulu. Then you have the third category of ulu, which is ulu al-qahr. Ulu al-qahr. Qa-ha-ra. Al-qahr. Al-qahr. Qahr means domination. Like absolute dominance. Ulu al-qahr. As far as the first two categories, I think that's self-explanatory. There's too many verses in the book of Allah that affirms that. One person would say, well, what's your delil for the third? The third category of ulu al-qahr, of dominance. The delil for that comes in more than one ayah. One ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, وَهُوَ الْقَاهِرُ فَوْقَ عِبَادِهِ ويرسل عليكم حفظة حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت توفتهم رسلنا وهم لا يفرطون. There's an ayah, and I think is it Surah Al-A'raf? I have to check it. This is Surah Al-A'raf. I'll check it after the lesson. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, وَهُوَ الْقَاهِرُ. Notice Allah says qahr, but He uses the ismu fa'il, which is qahir. Allah says He is the dominant one above the heavens. He is al-qahiru. From the word qahr. وَهُوَ الْقَاهِرُ فَوْقَ عِبَادِهِ. The dominant one above the heavens. And He sends upon you hafadha, those who write down and guard you, until the one of you comes to him death. Our messenger takes you, and they do not neglect that. Our messengers take you, and they do not neglect therein. طيب. In that particular ayah, Allah says in His book, He is al-qahiru fawqa ibadih. He's the dominant one above the heavens. It says qahir. There's another ayat that also affirms this third category. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, I just had it in my mind. What is that ayat? Naam, I just remember. وهو القادر على أن يبعث عليكم عذابا من فوقكم ومن تحت أرجلكم أو يلبسكم شيعا ويذيق بعضكم بأس بعض. That's the ayah. That is qadir. But it can be qahir also. He is the one that is able to send upon you a punishment from above you or beneath you. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says another type of punishment. He says, or He can make you in deviant sects and make you into different schisms and parties until you fight one another. طيب. So that ayah, that He is the dominant one above the heavens, that is the ayah to clearly show the dalil, or that's the dalil to show the affirmation of the third category of what they call ulu al-qadr. Ulu al-qahr. Al-qahr. Qa-ha-ra. Ulu al-qahr. So the first category of, so now, the ulu, like we said, is from the category what they call sifat dhatiyah, the characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what, everyone? His essence. The second category is the characteristic of Allah's actions, and we'll continue this next week, inshallah. We'll stop here. So keep in mind and understand, summarize what we mentioned and said about the characteristic of the affirmation of the first category, which is the affirmation of Allah's essence. And as far as His actions, that we'll get into, and that's pertaining to Allah's anger and His displeasure. That's a characteristic of Allah's action, which we'll discuss next week, inshallah. It will suffice what we mentioned here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Is there any questions about the lesson? Anything, sisters, that's not clear?